Cue the mysterious music. Something is killing the NBA. We have a whole bunch of suspects on why the NBA's ratings are some of the lowest they've ever been. Why are people not watching? Is it because every shot is a three-pointer? Is it because the stars aren't playing? Is it because we don't really have dynasties anymore? Is it load management just taking over the NBA? Maybe it's a toughness issue. Let's break it down, starting with suspect number one, the three ball. Back in the day, every single NBA player had the shot selection of J.R. Smith high on marijuana. They would take bad shots. There was really no such thing as a bad shot. People would take a mid-range jump shot, a fadeaway, a hook shot, whatever this is. But lately, nerds have turned our beloved game into some kind of math contest. It's just analytics and threes, percentages, compound fractures, and threes. Shaq has an opinion on this, Matt.
Lakers were playing the Spurs, and you have Austin Reed. Oh, Wembanyama. I turned the TV off. How you switch a 5'11" guy on a 7'5" and expect him to be? I'm like, come on, man. I turned it off.
Okay, but besides from that, how was the play, Mrs. Lincoln? This is how bad it is. The 2016 Warriors, led by Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, were the greatest three-point shooting team of all time, taking about 26 threes a game. Now, here is the 2024 Celtics, and I'll tell you this right now, there's not a generational shooter on the team. Maybe Peyton Pritchard, but the dude's too small to get it off consistently. The Celtics are doing it by committee. Every single player on their team is throwing a three ball up, and in the aggregate, Moneyball style, they've created a team that takes twice as many threes as arguably the greatest three-point shooting team of all time. In fact, the league has changed so much that the lowest three-point shooting team this year, which is the Denver Nuggets, is still shooting 33 pointers a game. And that's the league low. The league low now is higher than the Warriors in 2016. The Celtics are playing like they have Steph or Klay at every single position. But really, it's Al Horford or Drew Holiday. Three-pointers are more efficient, but are they more watchable? Now, games are kind of determined by whoever gets hot, not by the best team. Anybody can beat anybody. And you would think, oh man, that's going to be really exciting. But visually, it kind of looks like this. This kind of brings us back to the aesthetics, the cool factor of the NBA. This was the 90s.
Here's Claude with room to run. Wait, he thundered on in. Kevin Johnson in at the baseline. Up, over Markey. Big Daniel, right.
We have Michael Jordan faking out defenders, tongue out, dunking on people, toughness, gritty, hard fouls, team loyalty. Stars tended to stay on their teams. Look at Kobe Bryant in the early 2000s with the fadeaway, with the swagger. Even Carmelo Anthony had a one-on-one machismo to his game that it's hard to find in the league now. But it's not completely analytical. You still have players like Nikola Jokic breaking the mold. Ja Morant breaking the mold. These are guys that reject the three for the most part. And I know that Nikola Jokic is shooting some crazy like 50% number from three, but that is such a small part of his game. He beats you with strength, guile, IQ, size, teamwork, the power of friendship. Nikola Jokic comes at you every which way, but he's kind of the exception. It's a lot of swing, kick, three, swing, three, pick and roll, step back, three, and it gets repetitive, it gets boring. The mid-range dance of a Jordan or Kobe is gone, and we're just kind of watching math. The next suspect is load management. It costs a lot to watch an NBA game unless you know one of those streaming sites, but those are illegal, so we would never use them. But it costs like over $100 to get NBA League Pass if you're living in the States. It costs hundreds of dollars just to get nosebleed tickets to most NBA games now. The game is expensive, and yet when you tune in, whether you're an advertiser or a fan, you're not guaranteed to see a star anymore. Stars are playing less and less. We already did a video covering the increase in injuries. Check that out on this channel. By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe. But it's not just players getting hurt. It's players sitting out when they're not hurt. Players sitting out because of a trade demand. Players sitting out to do whatever LeBron is doing right now. Whether it's a trade holdout or it's steroids, he's doing something. The game isn't as fun when the best players aren't playing. And unfortunately, in the NBA, like when we see the New Orleans Pelicans, Zion has basically never played for that franchise except for like one momentous play-in game where he looked like he was the savior. He was the prince that was promised. And then suddenly he's gone. Stars like Kawhi, we hear he's ramping up. We hear he's practicing, but we don't know when he's going to play. And so I'm less likely to turn a game on when I don't know the stars that are going to play. But back in the day, Kobe and Shaq, for the most part, are going to play. More Kobe than Shaq. Dirk Nowitzki was going to play. Jason Kidd was going to show up every night. Doesn't matter how late he was out drinking and driving. He was going to show up and play. Also, the new CBA is killing dynasties. Like, the league got together, and I don't know what the decisioning was, but they decided we're going to kill the dynasty. We're going to make it hard to keep talent. We're going to try to limit player movement. And because of that, we just don't see the dynasties we used to see anymore. Even the Boston Celtics, who look really good and are the model of the modern NBA, they're putting the franchise up for sale because their ownership can't afford the luxury tax of keeping the team together. I think another reason people don't want to watch is gambling kind of kills the soul. I mean, I'm a guy that gambles more than anyone, and I'm also a lifelong Nets fan, but gambling, especially like parlays, will have you doing some crazy stuff. You'll be watching a game late in the fourth quarter, hoping that the bench unit comes in so you can get 2 more threes from Jonte Porter, but his eye hurts. You're not rooting for your team anymore. You're rooting for individual player outcomes. And I think it takes away a little bit of the joy. Back in the day, we watched the game because we loved the game. Now we watch the game hoping that our parlays hit. And it's different. We've sold a little bit of our soul, and the NBA is pushing it. Everything's gambling. Everything is Jamie Foxx dancing on a piano telling you to gamble. Everything is Kevin Garnett telling you to gamble. Everything is everyone telling you to gamble. And it's like, well, what if we just like had friends and cracked open a beer and watched the game? God forbid, we just enjoyed the game. Also, I think the last suspect is toughness.
If you're going to make $50-60 million a year to play basketball 3 or 4 days a week, play basketball, man. Everybody hurts after the first 2 weeks of the season. Your legs sore, your knees sore. Y'all got the best shoes. You got the best medical staff. You got these guys sleeping in chambers. You got ice baths.
I think that there's a legitimate complaint that the game is soft. I'm a boomer at 35 years old, but the game has gotten softer. Like, literally, not only do players not foul as hard and everything is a flagrant foul, but like, it just doesn't feel like players compete as hard. Like, everybody is friends in the modern NBA. They all hang out in the off season. Player movement is incredible. I mean, that's cool when everyone sings Kumbaya and gets together and forms an Olympic team, but like, it's not the coolest thing when I'm watching like a Pacers and Knicks game and like the players don't hate each other anymore. Back in the day, there were death threats on the court. I'm not saying players have to hate each other. I'm just saying the competitive spirit of the game is different. Somewhere along the way, with the fast-paced offense, with the analytics, with the endorsement deals and the international travel, the game became more friendly and less competitive. And for the next 20 years of us being fans of the NBA, we have to use our voices. We have to ask questions. What is the NBA going to look like? What do we love about the game? I'm going to watch the NBA probably no matter what happens, but I want to know what you guys think. What do you like about the changes that have happened in the NBA, and what do you think still needs to happen? Follow, subscribe, like. This is the Trash Talk channel.